Share a quick school anecdote. My son just started kindergarten, and I could tell last night he was feeling a little nervous, reserved. And I said, "How are you feeling?" "Fine." And I said, "You know, I have something important tomorrow, and I'm feeling a little excited, but also a little bit nervous." And he said, "That's how I'm feeling. That's how I'm feeling." And he said, "But Mom, your thing is one day. Mine is every day." For the rest of my life.
That's right. That's great.
So, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you, Jamie Dimon and JP Morgan, for hosting. A special thanks to the principals and students here. I know it's the second week of school. I'm Kirsten Barnett, the Executive Director of the New York Jobs CEO Council. The council's CEOs are CEOs of some of the largest employers in our city, and they are all committed to making sure that every New Yorker has a pathway to a strong and family-sustaining career. And we recognize that the only way to do this is to scale solutions that will drive long-term systemic change. The Career Readiness and Modern Youth Apprenticeship Program is exactly this: a future-oriented talent strategy that benefits both community and industry, that drives economic mobility and economic growth. And when we're talking about systems change, it's critical to have the right, influential senior leaders from our city all saying the same message together. And I don't have to tell anyone how powerful the group standing behind me is, so we've checked that box. And you'll hear from a lot of them in a moment. But I also want to recognize a few others who have been critical to building and launching this partnership. Thank you to Barb Chang. I don't know which order everyone is in, but to Barb Chang, the Executive Director of CareerWise, you all heard from a minute ago. Judy Dimon, Chair of the James and Judith K. Dimon Foundation, for your tireless commitment to proving that the apprenticeship model is the enabler and, quite frankly, the game changer that our city needs. And thank you to Jenny Kane from Bloomberg Philanthropies for her and their continued support of education. And to Deputy Mayor Sheena Wright, Deputy Mayor Maria Torres Springer, Abby Cho Siegel, the Executive Director of the Mayor's Office of Talent and Workforce Development, and to Department of Education Chief Student Pathways, Jade Grieve, I think all of them over there, for their commitment to investing in our city's youth. And thank you to CUNY Chancellor Felix Matos Rodriguez for his dedication to connecting and enhancing career pathways for students into and through higher education. And of course, today would not be possible if not for the educators and the administrators who support the future leaders across our public school system. I'm now honored and delighted to introduce you to our first speaker, our champion of this effort, the Chancellor of the New York City Department of Education, Mr. David Banks.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
This is a really big day. I'm beyond excited. I'm trying to be cool. But we should all be tremendously excited about what's happening here today, right? Before we even began, I had a chance to walk the room a little bit and touch base with so many friendly faces and people who I've known over the years. And we are in a place now to dramatically change our school system. And I, for one, could not be happier. We asked that essential question: why do we send our children to schools in the first place? What are we ultimately trying to achieve? That's what this is all about today. And to make learning connected to the real world. And so we're here to discuss student pathways, which is about getting our students out into the professional world to explore their interests and invest in themselves, their futures, their families, and ultimately in their communities. As I mentioned, this work would not be possible without incredible and historic public-private partnerships. So please allow me a moment to thank Jamie Dimon, Julie Sweet, and the New York Jobs CEO Council, who have stepped up to make this happen. Thank you. My dear friend, Judy Dimon, who's played a key role in bringing this partnership together, and our partners at CareerWise New York. Thank you, Judy. Bloomberg Philanthropies, who are committing $8 million, that's just the start, to Student Pathways as an anchor philanthropic partner in this work. When I met with Mike Bloomberg months ago, as soon as I began my tenure as Chancellor, he said, if I were the mayor today, this would be the North Star. You've got to create the programs that are going to put people on the path to the 21st century economy. It's what is the most important thing that we could be doing. Thank you, Mike Bloomberg. Thank you, Bloomberg Philanthropies, for your investment in this effort. Kathy Wild and the Partnership for New York for your efforts to convene the entire business community across New York City to build pathways to economic security. There's nobody who is as well connected for the business community, and she is our partner in this work. I couldn't be happier. Kathy Wild, thank you so very, very much. We also have to thank the Robin Hood and Pinkerton Foundations for their support. Thank you to Robin Hood and Pinkerton. And we said earlier, special thanks to our principals and students who are here today and all the educators, students, and families from across the city. But of course, I personally have to thank Mayor Adams for not only his leadership for the entire city, but for his ongoing support around this initiative. Before he even became mayor, he talked about it on a daily basis. How do we drive real opportunity, particularly for so many young people who've been left out of opportunity? Young people who've never seen the inside of a place like J.P. Morgan Chase. Right. And so this mayor has talked about this from the very beginning, and we would not be here today were it not for his leadership. Mr. Mayor, thank you so very, very much. Appreciate you. Now, many of you are familiar with our 4 pillars for improving the New York City schools. Today's announcement is especially connected to 2 of those pillars: reimagining the student experience and scaling what works. So to prepare our students for success in life beyond the classroom, we must recognize our young people's tremendous talent and skill. Our plan will help build the strong, diverse, economically vibrant future that we know that this city needs. But we can only do this together with New York City's employers and our post-secondary partners, including CUNY Chancellor Felix Matos Rodriguez, who we know as Felo. Felo, thank you so very much. Every time I see him, I tell him he's the real chancellor. I'm just doing the best that I can. And at the same time, in the wake of this pandemic, we've seen enrollment fall because too often schools aren't speaking to students' passions and purpose or connecting their learning to the real world. I cannot emphasize that enough. I've been in education for over 35 years. And I would invite any of you, if you go and visit many of our high schools around the city, you can sit next to a young person and you can ask them what are they engaged in, and they'll tell you, I'm doing my work. Doing my work is code for I'm just being compliant. I'm going through the motions. I'm doing what the teacher said. But they have no clue what it means. How does it connect to the real world? And that's what this is all about here today. Career-connected learning, informed by and expanding on our quality CTE programs, will ensure that New York City Public School students graduate with real-world skills and experiences. It will give them a head start towards college and careers. It will also help them build their post-secondary plan and put them on the path to rewarding careers and long-term economic security. So we're kicking off today with our Career Readiness and Modern Youth Apprenticeship, which will connect 3,000 of our students to apprenticeships and professional opportunities at major companies over the next 3 years. These students will have an opportunity to earn entry-level wages of up to $25 an hour, getting real skills that will prepare them for good jobs right after high school and to go on to college if they choose that path. As part of this effort, 15,000 9th and 10th graders across more than 50 schools will get career readiness skills, and I'm particularly excited that our teachers will also actually get the opportunity to get out into the world of work and get experiences at these major companies. You see, it's very difficult for the teachers to reinforce what we're trying to do if they haven't had any level of exposure to the 21st century workplace themselves. And so these are a number of dots that we have to connect if we are really about providing true opportunity for our kids. We want the teachers to have a deeper understanding of this work so that they can teach our students these skills themselves. What we're announcing today is just the first step. In the coming weeks, we'll share more details about additional pathways programs like Future Ready NYC, which will allow our students to receive college credits and industry credentials, access to internships, career-themed classes at schools, initially focused on technology, healthcare, and education. Our young people have tremendous talents. What our children can achieve is unlimited if we help them discover what excites them and give them a sense of purpose. And we are setting a bold goal, please hear me, that every student, not some, not most, that every student will graduate on the path to long-term economic security by the time they leave high school, with the early college credits or credentials and real work experiences that will give them the head start that they need. But we need to work together as we are doing today. Private companies, higher education, philanthropy, and educators coming together on behalf of our students. So I'm so proud to join my partners who are here today on the stage with me. I'm excited to see what more we can do in collaboration with New York City's employers, who we desperately need to step up into this space. If you've ever wondered what to do to try to help turn New York City around, and you are heading up any company in New York City, this is the place to lean in, and this is the time to do it. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, Chancellor Banks. The reason we were hosting this here today was really to drive home industry's commitment and part in this historic public-private partnership. So with that, I will introduce our next speaker, Jamie Dimon, CEO of JP Morgan and the Executive Chair of the New York Jobs Council.
Kirsten, thank you. I also want to add my thanks to a bunch of people. In particular, I'm going to start with my wife, because this whole effort started with her.
That's right.
And a bunch of other people in this room trying to navigate this very complex world of ours. Working with Noel Ginsberg, career-wise, a bunch of people who've already been recognized up here. It was inchoate, but somehow you got together all these companies, mostly the folks in the HR departments, the teachers, the schools, and starting this very complex apprenticeship program. She actually dragged a bunch of us to Switzerland to learn about what they do. You may not know this, but in Switzerland and Germany, the unemployment among kids, same thing, 30% go to college, 70% don't, they start apprenticeship. But the unemployment rate among younger youth there is 2 or 3%. In neighboring France is 20%. Wow. Okay, public policy actually really works. And so thanks for getting us off the ground. We formed the Jobs Council, 30 big company CEOs, not because the CEOs can actually get this done, they can't. It is very important that it be a long-term sustained effort. Doing 100 or 200 apprenticeships is not cost-effective for anybody. You got to get 100 schools, certificates, degrees in data, scientists, program management, et cetera. Yes, they should all get college credits and all that, but it's so important to get this done. So I want to, after this effort my wife started, but Kirsten in particular, what a job you've done herding the folks here on both sides of business, public, private, and the HR folks in this room, or training folks. I see a bunch of from JP Morgan Chase here. That's where the work's going to be done. It's hard work to get 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds, and 12-year-olds in here, teach them the basic skills they need. But once they enter the building, they're treated respectfully, and they see that we're nice people, we make jokes every now and then, it changes the whole nature. We need to do this to lift up society. There are huge problems in society. This is one that creates opportunity. And maybe among all these folks, there's an Albert Einstein or Barack Obama or someone we're going to miss if we don't do it. So it's critical. I also I want to make sure the other thing is you should judge us, and this is the most important part, okay? Because I've been doing efforts like this for the better part of 30 years. Judge us on the outcome, not the money spent, not the time spent. How many kids graduate, go through these programs and get a job either among our companies or elsewhere, making $40,000, $45,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year? How many go on to community college? How many graduate there? There are plentiful jobs and stuff like that. Measure it. And I've asked our people, we're going to measure and report. We may fall short, but it's not going to be for lack of trying. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, the other thing is I wanted to say the Chancellor and the Mayor, somehow we came together instantly. First of all, called them up, returned their phone calls immediately. I mean, that's just, we met immediately.
Yes, sir.
You already been talking about these efforts independent of what we're doing, but we immediately got together with Phalo, coalesced these efforts, and that's what makes all the difference in the world. So to Phalo and the Chancellor and the Mayor, God bless you. We're going to make this one work this time, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie, and we are not going to fall short. Just for the record. Or I won't have a job. We have another one of our CEOs joined here with us today. As Jamie mentioned, there are 30. Julie Sweet, the CEO of Accenture, is one of them. I'm going to ask Julie to speak, and I just have to say, Accenture has been such a leader in the apprenticeship model for years, and has really inspired so many other companies to follow along that. So anyway, thank you, Julie.
This is a very exciting moment, and I want to add my thanks to all of the people who have made this possible, and also for the very inspiring leadership of Jamie and Judy Diamond, that we now can all come together with this extraordinary private-public partnership with the courage and bravery of Chancellor Banks and Mayor Adams. Today is about making a smart decision easier. It is a smart decision to hire apprentices for our companies. It's a smart decision to hire apprentices for all the people who work in our companies who are inspired to work with the apprentices. It is absolutely a smart decision for our educational institutions in New York City to support apprenticeship programs. And it is even the most intelligent decision for all of the young men and women whose lives will be changed by their courage and commitment in becoming an apprentice. And this program coming together is about a proven methodology to help our young people find new careers. It has been tested and it works. In 2016, Accenture started its first apprenticeship program in the US. I was leading North America at the time, and we started with 5 apprentices in Chicago, and today we have over 2,000. 56. We are proud to have had already 56 CareerWise apprentices in New York. We're about to welcome 30 more. I speak from experience. This program works. And you heard from Emily earlier. You're going to hear from Ryan, an Accenture intern and apprentice, in just a moment. On the video earlier, Anais, she was my apprentice. Right? She was in my office. These apprentices are incredible. I want to be super clear. Apprenticeships are not about corporate citizenship. This is a business priority. At Accenture, apprenticeships are part of our core talent strategy. Right. Every company to succeed in the next decade must access great talent. They have to become talent creators, not just consumers, and they must be able to unlock the potential of that talent. And apprenticeship programs do all 3. They provide you access to great talent. They provide you the ability through CareerWise, providing a network and a program to accelerate your ability as a company to be a talent creator. And not only do they unlock the enormous potential of these young men and women, but they unlock the potential of every person they touch. And so today, I hope all of the businesses who are listening or watching will be inspired to hire And I hope that the policymakers, the foundations, the educational institutions will be inspired to continue to invest and make possible that not only large companies, but that all companies, medium, small, and large, can provide the opportunity to change the course of the lives of these young men and women and enrich all of our communities. Thank you all for the leadership in this room.
Thank you, Julie. Next, I'm going to invite Kathy Wild to speak. Kathy is a friend and mentor and someone whose work building public-private partnerships with measurable outcomes and successful outcomes has been an inspiration to me and I think to most people in this room. Kathy.
Today's announcement is a really big check in the box of the mayor's agenda to get stuff done. Right? The mayor and the chancellor, in launching the Student Pathways effort, are really opening up the economic opportunities of New York City's global business community to the students of the schools in a way that has never happened before. This is possible because of the leadership on the city side and the mayor and chancellor and their team's dedication to this idea that people should be able, New Yorkers should be able to take advantage of the jobs that are here. You know, on any given day, we have 300,000 vacant job postings in New York City. And unless these kids have the apprenticeships, the internships, the mentorships that qualify for those jobs, we're going to continue to both have employers looking for the right talented people and to have kids underperforming in terms of their economic success. So this is really the solution to a problem that has bugged us for a long time, and it's the beginning of a really scalable effort for the first time. It's not little dribs and drabs. This is a big movement that the mayor and chancellor are leading, and that on the private sector side, Jamie Dimon stepped up, Julie and 25 other corporations stepped up with their leadership to say, for the first time, we're going to bring all industry together. We're going to do this together. We're going to do it at scale. And with the intermediary infrastructure that Judy Dimon and Barbara Chang and Abby Jo Siegel have created, we really, for the first time, and I've been at this for a long time with career and technical education and trying to support these efforts, for the first time, I see a path to real success in the city. So congratulations to you.
Thank you, Kathy. Next, we're going to have one of our apprentices speak and share a little about his experiences, Ryan Bernal-Franco.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ryan Bernal-Franco, and I currently attend St. Peter's University, and I'm a proud product of New York City Public Schools. First, I would like to give a huge thanks to CareerWise Mayor Eric Adams and the Chancellor David Banks, and for including me today. Especially a huge thank you to JP Morgan Chase for hosting this awesome event in their space. When I reflect on my time at Accenture as a CareerWise youth apprentice, I feel a great sense of personal accomplishment because of the impact that this program has had on me, and I am proud to be an apprentice. My role has enabled me to make meaningful connections and build my network at Accenture with my peers, my colleagues, and as well as clients. And these connections have led to amazing opportunities that I could have not once imagined. Apprenticeships provide accessibility to students with opportunities that are presented to expand horizons through job readiness training and coaching. In addition, my experience has enabled me to build key skills and learn about the Accenture's core values by applying both to my personal and professional life. I have learned how to communicate more effectively, understand the importance of time management, and develop strong customer service skills, all which will help me in the future. To conclude, not only has the apprenticeship inspired new dreams and created new opportunities for me, but my hope is it will have a significant impact on students here across New York City and beyond. Thank you all again.
Thank you, Ryan. And finally, I'm thrilled and honored to welcome the man whose steadfast support of our schools, our students, our community, our future talent force, and commitment to bringing industry to the table is what brought us all here today. Mayor Eric Adams.
The technical aspects of this program, they have all been told. So let me give you the human aspect of it. Growing up in South Jamaica, Queens, I had a young friend who had a fire in his home, and he came to live with my family for a month. He was an Italian young man moving to South Jamaica, Queens, different city back then. And when he was able to, his family was able to be placed, David Shirosky took me to show his thanks for what we did. He took me, asked me, did I want to go to Madison Square Garden to see the game? I said, Walt Frazier, Willis Reed, yes. I got there, and it was not a basketball game, it was a hockey game. And I said, David, what are you doing? Black people don't like hockey? And when I walked inside, I was afraid. First time in my life, I was outside of the normal community of just all African Americans. And I sat there, and the game started, and I watched the excitement. And people who sat to the left and right of me was giving me high fives, and we were laughing, we were enjoying the game. And I realized something. There was no sign at Madison Square Garden that stated black people couldn't watch hockey. It was in my head. I built this imaginary wall of saying what I couldn't do because of my ethnicity. This is a hockey moment for us. These young people have been betrayed for so long. And this city has produced broken babies that turned into broken children that went into a broken system and became broken adults. And you may say we're just doing our good deed. I know that, Judy. I know you're saying that this is just the right thing to do. It's more than that. This is a moment that's going to unleash and unlock the potential of people who have been just betrayed for so long. We've normalized betrayal. We've normalized it. We knew every year 65% of black and brown children were never reaching proficiency. Every year. We knew it was happening to foster care children, and we just kept on doing business. And we had the audacity to ignore the industries that knew how to turn around companies. Had the audacity. How the hell do you have leaders of our city not sit down with our industry leaders and say we have to do this together? We betrayed you. We betrayed you every time you paid your tax dollars to produce a product and we gave you an inferior product. We betrayed the young people who did not get the services that they deserved. We've been a city and honestly a country of betrayal. We're stopping. We're going to create these partnerships because your baby deserves to live in this city that a dyslexic child that did not get services didn't pick up a gun and harm that baby. We deserve to ride a subway system where, because we did not tell that child his possibilities, that he or she believes they must have a criminal outcome, or that they may be permanently on public assistance, or permanently feel that they have to be unemployed. This is what we're doing. We're in this together. And you're going to see this energy in the next 3 years and 4 months of just believers This is not a slogan. We're going to get stuff done. And yes, we're not going to succeed at everything. But we're going to try. We're going to try. And there's a lot of people who are jaded. This beautiful announcement today, you may not even see it in the media. They're going to be distracted. What restaurant did Eric go to? Forget about the amazing accumulation of government and business come together. So we have to sing our own song. We have to ignore the noise. We have to send out emails among our corporate partners and others. We have to start telling our story above those who rather sell distrust. We're coming back, New York. We're coming back. That's what 9/11 was about. It was not only to acknowledge those we lost on that day, but it was to acknowledge 9/12. We got up. Teachers taught, retailers sold goods, builders built. We're invincible. We're resilient. And when New York turns it around, the country turns around. New York is America's city. This program is part of the pieces that we have been putting together for years. And I want to thank you, Kathy. For 15 years, have been an unbelievable partner. In the mid-90s, I sat down in my room and wrote in my diary and documented for all these years of how to fix this city. And I said back then, January 1st, 2022, I'm going to be the mayor of this city. And I'm here. I'm not going to waste one darn moment of it. Thank you, our corporate leaders. Thank you, our educators who are in this room. This dyslexic little boy is now the mayor of the city. I'm going back and find those children who were abandoned, and we're going to bring them forward together.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Why don't you feel the questions?
I was a high school clerk, by the way.
You feel the questions.
Good luck. Good luck.
Does everyone know what on topic
On
means?
topic.
Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, in light of a program like this, I wanted to ask, members of your administration were testifying last week before the council about a retainment crisis in the city government workforce, where you have a vacancy rate as high as almost 9%. I'm wondering, is there any efforts similar to this, where you're trying to get students into the private sector? Are there any similar issues underway in the public sector?
Yes, and let's be clear. I know some people try to make the attempt that the employment crisis we're seeing in city government started in January 1st, 2022. We have a national employment crisis, national. This is impacting our entire country. That is why I am not just a chorus about returning to work. I wrote the song. It's time to get back to work. You cannot hang out in the nightclub on Sunday, but you're afraid to come to work on Monday. It's time to come back. And I'm really happy to hear corporate leaders starting to say that. What we are doing, and what Deputy Mayor Wright and Deputy Mayor Maria Torres Springer, what we're doing, we're looking at our employment pool. Kathy just said it, 300,000 jobs are out there. So we have to start connecting the dots with the job seekers and the jobs that are available. And there are many rivers that feed that sea of employment. It includes apprenticeship programs. It includes making it easier for people to fill out a job. It includes going and doing non-traditional things. People living in NYCHA is not on LinkedIn, but you have some great talent there. So we're going to take our show on the ground, meet people where they are, and feed them into the employment process on every level. That is our goal. So it's not one size fits all. This is one of the rivers that's going to feed the sea of employment, and we're going to do it on our end at the same time.
One thing that came up during the council hearing, since we're on that topic now, some council members made the point that the lack of remote work, the lack of the possibility of working remotely is actually harming the city's efforts to keep more people employed in the public sector. What do you make of that?
Well, I think that we are all at a very unique place post-COVID. We were all traumatized, and when you look at those council members, I want them to answer the question, when I don't have the accountant in his office, who's going to go to that restaurant to make sure that waiter, that dishwasher is going to be there? 70%, over 70% of our hotel occupancy comes from business travelers. So if business travelers are not coming here, if they're not going to Broadway, if they're not patronizing the local bodega, the local restaurant, who's going to do that? And then give them this final question. Do an ethnic and economic breakdown of who can work remotely and who can't. My train operator can't. My nurse can't. My school crossing guard can't. All of those lower income and overwhelmingly women of color, they can't sit home if you're a school safety agent and remotely do the job. So when they show me that we can show the equality and the equity of those who are working from home, and we don't divide the city between the haves and the have-nots. We're saying to the highest income earners, you can stay home. And to the lower income earners, you must go to work every day and stock our shelves, deliver our food, and make sure that your trains are driven. Not acceptable. It's not going to happen while I'm the mayor.
I'm curious to understand some specifics about what the city and the schools are putting behind this. The businesses clearly have to make a commitment to bring students in to learn. What are the city and the school district doing to help boost these apprenticeships?
So the chancellor could say that, but I will tell you this, $33 million is our investment on this. Chancellor, you want to talk about some of the things we're doing?
I think that about says it all. We are being a real partner here. We have put the word out to our schools across the city. There's been a lot of efforts that have already gone in. Jay Grieve has been leading that work and how we're engaging our schools. The level of kind of training even before the students would even show up at these apprenticeship sites is also critically important. Many of our businesses are willing to take students, but they want students who will show up having some level of business protocol and understanding what it takes to be successful in this space. And all of those are the kinds of things that are happening and continuing to be honed and developed even more. That's why we said this is just the beginning, the opening salvo, if you will, in this work around career-connected learning.
Okay, we're gonna do some off topic. So we're gonna spare y'all this off topic.
Great, thank you.
Good to see you, man. Appreciate you.
What about the rest of
So much. Awesome.